Well, I've called this set of slides, Why Don't You Listen? I guess that's quite provocative, and I think it's probably true. I have a problem with this, I always have had, and I'm trying to make real efforts to get better. Let's see what people have been saying about this. I'll start with Daniel Goleman. He's always a good place to start from. Good listeners, he says, may challenge assumptions and disagree, but the person being listened to feels the listener is trying to help rather than trying to win an argument. That's a good place to start, isn't it? Because listening isn't just about being passive. Listening's about taking part in an active process to get the most from what people are saying. So yes, I like that as a starter. Four ways to help people listen to you. Because if we're the talker, if we're speaking, there's things we can do to make listening more likely. The first of those is to consciously speak on topics of real interest to the listener. And that's easily forgotten, isn't it? Sometimes we just go on about things that interest us far more than the people who are having to put up with what we're saying. So consciously speak on topics of real interest to the listener. Secondly, speak for short periods at a time. That's a bit of a challenge for people like me who like the sound of their own voice, but surely it helps to be listened to if we can confine what we say to a reasonable length of time at a time. Thirdly, don't interrupt. When you're being spoken to in return, show genuine interest in the listener. When they talk, you're more likely to get it back. Peter Honey said ages ago, behavior breeds behavior. So don't interrupt, show genuine interest in the listener when they talk. Fourthly, another way to help people listen to you is relate what you say directly to the listener's specific context and issues. So if you know enough about the listener, then what you're saying in order to be of interest to them should relate very directly to their circumstances, their context, the things going on for them, rather than dismissing those and just saying words to them. Sounds straightforward, but it's not. I like this model. It's the WAIT model, WAIT, and it's simply, why am I talking? I think if we asked ourselves that more often, we wouldn't come up with a very good answer. So, why am I talking suggests, why aren't I listening? So, talk less, listen more. I'm being quick. 6 specific listening activities. Not very many words, but a lot of issues here. 6 specific listening activities. Number 1, receiving accurately. So do we listen carefully enough to genuinely receive accurately what's being said, or are we just hearing things? So are we receiving accurately? Are we interpreting objectively? Are we already overlaying our values, our ideas, our thoughts, our feelings about the listener over what's being said, or are we interpreting objectively in a more accurate way? So the third way to listen well is to question with interest. So we don't just receive words without interrupting, which I'll cover later. We inquire, we show the interest that we hopefully feel by questioning, by asking for more rather than less by interrupting. Fourthly, remembering detail. So when someone says things to us, have we listened closely enough to refer back and to summarize and to show that we've listened by remembering what they've said to us? Evaluating context, showing that you've actually analyzed it, thought about it, given it some consideration in what you say, because in that way you're more likely to be listened to. Responding empathetically, now that's not easy for a lot of people, but it's about an emotional connection with people. Are we getting to people in such a way that we make clear that what has been said has reached us with the feeling sometimes that they feel about it? Are we responding and are we connecting in an empathetic way? These are important listening skills, because if we're just passive recipients of everything people say, that's robotic. It's important, I think, to authentically, no, not insincerely, connect level. 6 levels, hey, that's word, nice segue there. 6 levels of listening. And I think these are important and they're sequential. The first level is the lowest level, passive listening, hearing. It's not really listening at all. It could be waiting to speak. It's just listening. Not really. It's hearing. Passive listening is the first level. Second level is responsive listening. Okay, I've heard what you said. I've listened to it, not particularly intensely, but I've listened to it well enough to be able to respond credibly. Then there's selective listening. Okay, I'll listen to this bit really carefully, but I won't listen to it all. This bit interests me more than that, so I'll listen to it carefully, but I'll dismiss this bit. It's okay in parts, but it's not right across the whole. The fourth level of listening is attentive listening. It's when we do genuinely make an effort to hear the whole message. We attend physically, we attend mentally, we're giving what's being said our uninterrupted concentration. That's attentive listening. Then active listening is when we actually do more than that. We might position ourselves in a certain way. We might do the questioning we talked about earlier. The active listening is beyond attentive listening. It's doing something more than simply listening better. So active listening involves doing things. Questioning, maybe the gestures you show, or the way you show from your body language that you're receiving what's been said. Lastly, empathetic listening. Empathetic listening is once again shown in the interaction made following what's been said to show that you've genuinely, sincerely taken on board and understood the significance of what's being said to you. So 6 parts to the listen model. I like this quick listen model, and it can be gone through fairly swiftly, as I do with all of these things. L-I-S-T-E-N, listen. Number 1, listen. L, looking interested. How do we look interested when we're listening? Well, come on, think about it. And it's so straightforward, it's so obvious, but it's not as often seen as we'd like. So many people are clearly not interested by what's being said, by their expression, by the way they're looking away, even so far as the attempt at squashing a yawn. It's hard work listening. I mentioned that in a minute. So look interested. Inquire with questions. Come on, show a bit of interest. Question. Ask for more. Ask for clarification. Staying on target. So don't stray when you do have something to say from what someone said to you. Don't stray into little speeches on things. Keep on track to what's interesting for them. So that's staying on target. T of listen is testing understanding. Is what you're saying this? Have I understood you correctly when you said that? I'm not sure I fully grasp what you were saying, so and so. It's good. It shows that you've actually been there and taken it on board. Evaluating the message is E. And that's about saying, let me stop and think about this, or let me explore it in a way. People like an explicit demonstration that what they've said has reached people and is being thought through. And neutralizing your feelings is the N. And neutralizing feelings about the person or about what's been said, not always easy. And the times when it's most important to listen are very often those when it's most challenging, when it's about things you don't agree with, when it might be about you or a clash. I'm moving fast, so here's 6 reasons listening is really hard. Deeply embedded, poor listening behaviors are hard to change. Let's not kid ourselves, this is tough. Number 2, new, authentic listening skills are not easy to learn. Not only is it hard to change what you've got, it's hard also to develop new skills. So new, authentic listening skills are not easy to learn. Third reason that listening is really hard is being brutally honest. A lot of what we listen to is of low interest. It would be great if people only said things to us that we're really interested in. That isn't always the case. So listening is hard because a lot of the content that we're listening to is not of great interest to us. The fourth reason listening is hard is that given the chance, many speak for what seems like a very long time. Yes, particularly if we appear to give them that space with interest and authentic, sincere space where you're saying to them, come on, talk to me about this. Not many people give you the chance to do this. And then some people say, yeah, all right, here it comes. Number 5 is we don't typically get the same back. We don't get the same level of interest or listening back from people. And that can be a bit of a blockage. It can say to us, why should I make the effort for you? You're not giving me it back. So last reason that listening is really hard is what's in it for us? What's our reward for really listening? There isn't any immediately, and very often there isn't any ever. It should be enough to feel you've done a difficult thing well. 6 reasons now we interrupt. Poor timing, believing the other person had finished talking. Ignorance, plain bad manners. Manner of or feelings towards the speaker. Fear of forgetting response. Can't hold back. It could be because you like or you dislike what is being said, and a desire to end the conversation or do something else. I could talk at length about this. Oh, yes, I could, but who's listening? All I do is pick out from the 6 reasons we interrupt a couple that really hit home for me, at least, and that is poor timing. Oh, I thought you'd finished. Sometimes people don't talk in a way which make it clear by their tone or their content that they're ready for your chance to speak. So poor timing is about when we just say something before the other person's finished. And that takes practice. You've got to listen quite closely for that cue if there is one. And I think also for me, the fourth one on this list, fear of forgetting response. Oh, I know what I want to say in response to that, and I'll forget it if I don't interrupt now. Well, don't. To control interruptions is a major element of listening better. I hope that was of interest. If you're looking for more on this topic, on or around it, you'll find it at my podcast, The Learning Year, at my website, www.andrewgibbons.co.uk, or indeed contacting me directly. I'm always interested to hear from people with a shared interest, and listening and getting better at it does interest me a lot.